You are watching the Powerhouse Effect. I'm Amy Gregory, one of eXp Realty's top recruiters and the founder of Powerhouse, a national organization of over 800 agents built specifically for the female solo agent who is done leaving money on the table. Every episode, you're going to hear from a real agent who made the leap and never looked back. Today's guest went from running a team from someone else with huge splits to $20 million in her production pipeline as of right now, without working more hours, without sacrificing her life, and without doing it alone. Here's her story. Okay, Juli Ford, I am so excited to have you on the very first episode of the Powerhouse Effect. Tell me, how did you even very first hear about Powerhouse?
I'm so honored to be on the first episode of the Powerhouse Effect, and so happy to be here. I was following you on social media for, gosh, maybe 2 years before I moved my business to Powerhouse. And I knew I wanted to, but because I was running a team and we were under a contract, there were just a lot of complications from like extricating myself from the former brokerage and moving over. I knew what I wanted to do, but it took a little while. And I think a lot of people
That's
experience that.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit, what did your real estate business look like before Powerhouse? What was kind of a typical week like, and what were your responsibilities? Give us the
No,
dirty details. So
it
don't leave
was,
any of the details out.
yeah, it was so totally different. So like I've been in real estate for 9 years. The first 4 years I was a solo agent and I was like a mediocre solo agent, also doing another job. I used to work in nonprofit housing. So I did both of those things for 4 years. Maybe I was doing 4 million a year in production. Like it was extra money for me. And then I was
Which
ready
is,
to put,
but 4 million in production,
it's
it
not
let's
bad.
yeah, at 3%, that means you're bringing home 120, let's call it 90 to 95 by the time you remove overhead. So not a bad side gig.
No, it was a great side
Yeah,
gig. It would have been a better side gig if I'd been with EXP at that point because I would have been paying a lot less to the brokerage. But,
right,
that took me a while
right.
to figure out. I was ready to quit real estate after that because I was doing it by myself. It seemed like such a slog. And I was really kind of tired of just working. I was doing Zillow leads back then. Like that's how I started my
Oh,
business was doing Zillow leads because,
okay. Let's
yeah.
break this down just a second because you said something that like caught my attention where you said, well, had I been at EXP, that 4 million would have felt like a lot more. And all of a sudden I'm realizing, because EXP is an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. So if you do 4 million in production at 3%, that would give you 120,000 in commissions. A $16,000 cap puts you at 104.
Yeah.
Let's give you another 10,000 for now. I'm also assuming I made the assumption that then you're also that you were lead generating your own leads. But if you are doing Zillow leads, I've never done Zillow leads or like real like online an online lead source. It could be realtor.com, it could be any number of ones. What were the splits like on those?
Well, I wasn't paying splits on those. I was paying per zip code. I don't even know if they do this anymore because this was,
So
eight,
long
9 years
ago.
ago, but I was just paying a monthly fee. So I was paying like $1,800 a month to get leads in my zip code. And then I would just work them. But back at that time, I was new too. So I was with a small local brokerage. I had a big split. I think, in the beginning, it was probably like 50-50. It changed over time, but like the first 10 transactions or something I did, I wasn't making much money because my broker was taking more as she mentored me. By the way, that wasn't a huge mistake. Like
Yeah,
having someone to mentor me one on one for the first 10 transactions was not a bad idea. Like I learned a ton.
I agree with you on that. Whereas it's like theoretically in real estate, there's no cap on how much you can earn, right? But you do need to learn the business. And so to be mentored and to pay someone, I mean, like we pay to go to medical school, you pay to go to law school
Yep.
because it's a high, income potential on the back end of that. And real estate
Totally.
has that same thing. But I just did the math. If you were paying $1,800 a month for Zillow leads, that's almost $22,000 that
Yeah. And when you're
in a
doing that,
year.
you're like,
That's a lot.
it's a lot. And you're also betting that you're going to be successful with them because that wasn't a split on the back end. That was a payment up front to get the lead.
Wow.
And I was good at it. Like, so I was good at working the leads, but I burned out on that. And in real estate, if you stay in 5, 6 years, I think that's when real estate tends to start to pay off because your previous clients start to come back. You get more referrals. People are selling again. Like, so those first few years can be really, really tough
Yeah.
as you're getting your feet underneath you. And so I was pretty burned out because also working Zillow leads is very different than working personal referrals.
Oh yeah, because you're not guaranteed what the
No, and they
client is
don't
on the
know
other
you.
side. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
you don't have any personal relationship, and there's a
Totally.
wide breadth of individuals you could run into inside of
Oh,
real
and I
estate.
did. Yeah. Oh, I did. That's another podcast. All the stories we could tell. But so after 4 years, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. Like, this isn't
Mhm,
for me. I wanted to work with something that I felt like more personally attached to.
mhm.
But then I ended up aligning with another small brokerage and started running their real estate team. And they were working with primarily, almost exclusively, older adults, helping them downsize and move. This is very like deep emotional work that goes along with this. I became a
Mhm.
certified senior advisor. I became an end of life doula and was their real estate agent. So this was like deeply
Wow.
personal
Yeah.
for 4 years. And that was great because we were doing like 20 to 30 million a year with a small team of like 3 to 5 agents, varied at times. I ran the team. I loved working with the clients. It was awesome for 4 years. And actually, when I found you, I thought, and this is sort of what we did in the beginning, I thought I was bringing that whole team with me to
Yeah.
come to Powerhouse at EXP. And what I didn't foresee was that 2 months after we moved over to Powerhouse, our team fell apart. And I ended up completely out on my own.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that. Like, because I remember this of like it was you and maybe two other was it two
Yeah.
other agents with you if I'm
Yeah. It was
remembering
two other,
correctly?
and they owned the business. I was basically like working for them. Yeah.
Right. Well, and
Oh,
this is a thing that a lot of agents do is we find ourselves behaving as employees,
yeah.
right? And that's fair. They took the risk and built the team. And so sometimes I think as agents we can like assign a lot of feelings to things, but this is all just like math and they did own
It
the
was
team.
business.
And,
Yeah.
and they hired you to run the team and you ran the team until you started to think, wait,
Well,
maybe or how did that unfold? I don't
yeah,
even
well,
know.
I know it's interesting. So and by the way, it was hard to go through that breakup, but we did all come out the other side friends. So that's, I think, important to say. It was really, really hard though. It was like a divorce, basically. And yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot because we were
Mhm.
all very, very emotionally involved in the work we were doing. And here's the mistake I'd say I'd made. And I think so many women make this mistake. And it's hard to say mistake because you look back and you've learned, I would
Mhm.
never like say I regretted everything I did because I've learned so much, but I wouldn't do this again. I would not invest my time, energy, resources, creativity, and really like passion for my work in someone else's business that I owned nothing of because that's how I treated it. I treated it like it was my business and I poured myself into it. And our visions for the direction of the business eventually diverged. And I had to make a decision if I was going to
Mhm.
stay in someone else's business or do something on my own. And I knew I wanted to do something on my own, but that was very scary because I walked away from a $25 million pipeline. And it was
Mhm.
big splits, but I was still making the best money I'd ever made in my life.
Oh,
And
yeah, it's scary.
it's really scary. And I walked away and I had nothing. And that's when I came to Rise last year and started all over again.
Which was wild. Like, what really gave you the confidence to like make that big decision?
Well, look, I was 56 years old at the time, right? If not, then when? Like, how long are we going to wait to do the thing that we really want to do? And
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't even know what the thing was, what that was going to look like. I just knew it was time to start building something of my own. And actually, no, maybe I could answer this question a little bit better. I think you and Powerhouse gave me the confidence to do this. I
Hmm.
was thinking about this before this call. I didn't realize how much I was going to need Powerhouse before I came to Powerhouse. I came because I wanted to be in the room, because I wanted to grow on social media, and I saw what you were doing, and I could see that you knew how to do it. And I could learn that from you and from the group. But what I
Hmm.
didn't know was that I was going to end up completely solo and actually need to be in the room with other women who were building so that I could learn from, collaborate with, feel inspired by, and not feel so alone in doing it.
Well, and your story is remarkable. because you've been with Powerhouse for what, just over a year-ish?
Yeah, it's been like almost going on a year and a half, almost a year and a half.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay. And tell us a little bit about what you've built in the last year and a half, because we always joke and laugh inside of Powerhouse because Juli, there's this misnomer on, I mean, if you don't know, Juli is actually like a social media superstar. And there's this thing about being an influencer on Instagram. Like you feel like you need to be like 25, like Selling Sunset. You know what I mean? Like you watch Selling Sunset on Netflix and you're like, does anyone's like, that is not real.
Yeah,
Right?
nobody I know looks like that. So,
And then meanwhile, Juli decides at 56, like, I'm going to be a social media influencer and like takes the internet by storm talking about like multi-gen living. And I'm like, tell me something less sexy than talking about multi-gen living. But the magic, that's why I love it so much, is because there is space for everyone on Instagram.
yeah.
And it's been the most fun story to watch unfold, because I'm just back here like, yes, like give me
what
more
is happening?
well, because it's real. It's real. And so often we see this sensationalized version of real estate on the internet, on, TV, and it's so real and it's so relatable. And I think that's why everyone has fallen in love with it.
Yeah, it's been so fun. I have to apologize. I hope you can't hear the weed whacker outside my window, but this is how we roll here, working from home, and the landscapers show up right when you're going to record something.
I can't hear anything. You're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's been pretty wild. So I broke up with the team. I was starting over at Zillow. I knew I wanted to build something, and I just decided to go all in on talking about my life, which is I've been living in this multi-generational home with my mom for the last 11 years, and my husband and my kids, and this is our life. And after working with so many families who are helping their parents downsize, it became clear to me like there were many ways we were all trying to grapple with like how to help our aging parents, and then also how to help our young adult kids, because housing is so hard to afford. And so I just started talking about it, and it was absolutely wild because I had been at 1,200 Instagram followers for like 3 years, and I had 7 Facebook page followers, which I laugh at, like so funny, like 7, one digit. And then now I checked my numbers yesterday. I'm at 127,000 followers across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at this point. And it's, yeah, the surprise.
It's wild. Well, I love when, I mean, because she came to Rise in 2025, really not knowing anyone, and
Nobody.
basically business at zero. The team was still together at that point, but you didn't know.
No, I broke
Sure.
up. We broke up the month before I came. I
Okay.
actually decided to come to Rise because I'm like, what am I going to do now? I'm going.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I
Yeah, it was
wasn't
like
sure the
last minute.
exact timeline of things. That's amazing. So come to Rise in 2025, business is basically at zero for all intents and purposes. And then by 2026, you're literally speaking on the stage at Rise. And my favorite line from that was like, I talk about living with my mom. And I was like, I'm dead. It is like such a mic drop moment, you know? Like,
After that, one of our favorite Powerhouse agents, Kim Buckner, sent me a t-shirt in the mail that says, I live with my mom. So this is like, that's how I built my whole business, talking about living with my mom.
well, but it's such a fun, listen, I would totally live with my mom. Like,
Your mom's
and
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like these things where it's like, I think we're in like this new chapter. We're gonna have to do another episode all about
I
multi-gen
know.
living and all of the things. Okay, I'm gonna like retract myself.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Amy. I
Let's
have
reel it in.
ADHD, and sometimes this is the banter inside of Powerhouse where we go like bebop around. So tell me a little bit about your experience inside of Powerhouse, because I would say we could say like, oh, Juli's received so much from Powerhouse, but I would also say like you're one of the ones that probably gives the most also inside of Powerhouse, which has been humbling to watch unfold. So tell me a little bit about your experience inside of Powerhouse and how you navigated that.
Yeah, well, once I went to Rise and I realized like the value of being in that room, because what there were like 350 women real estate agents in that room, and I connected to so many people there, and I could just really see the energy and the power of having people to grow with, even though you're building your own thing. When I came back from that, I was like, I am all in. I am going to every single Powerhouse meeting that there is, and we meet twice a week. because I'm in elites with you too, because you have to have enough production to be in that room. But so twice a week, I mean, come rain or come shine, it is very uncommon for me to miss
Mhm.
a Powerhouse meeting because I was like, well, why would I be here and not fully show up and participate? And you know me, I'll like unmute and participate at the drop of a hat if I feel like I have something to contribute or ask.
Yeah.
And that has been the place where I basically built everything. Like, especially those elites calls when you like, because you're so awesome about like if you see an opportunity for someone, you're like, well, you could do this. And then real ideas develop like on those calls spontaneously. And I would say if I do one thing right, it's I implement really fast and I'm
Mhm.
willing to fail. Like, so I will just go try stuff. So if a good idea comes up on one of those calls, I'm like, well, I'm doing it. And I just do it and I don't hold myself back. And that has paid off over and over and over again.
Well, and I think that's what's really fun inside of Powerhouse is how quickly we implement. I mean, in all candor, Julie and I are recording right now based on a conversation we had yesterday. And that's how quickly we're implementing. But it feels normal because that's kind of what everyone is doing. And so, yes, we meet twice a week. Elites is for agents doing 7 million or more in production because by that point you kind of have transactions figured out and we're working on like additional revenue streams inside your business. So, and that's the thing I think a lot of agents don't realize is that yes, transactions are important and they're the foundation of all of our businesses. But how do we build differently inside of Powerhouse versus kind of like this traditional, okay, I'm doing transactions, then I'm going to be a team leader, then do we go get our broker's license? Like what is the explain? There's a different way to do it, and we don't do it
Yeah.
that way inside of Powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I would say what I've built over the last year I didn't know it was coming. I think one thing we're good at in Powerhouse is talking about potential opportunities and seeing opportunity. I mean, there's 800 women in Powerhouse, right? So there are like what before I got in this room, I didn't know the kinds of things I could potentially build on the foundation of my real estate business
Mhm.
and on social media visibility. I would not have, I don't think, noticed some of those things or built some of those things if I hadn't heard other people doing different things. And we all have unique businesses, but to share ideas like that opens all of our minds. So in the past year, I built 12 different revenue streams. I've been on national television twice. I've had, national business publications feature me and my family. I had another one reach out to me yesterday. I just got my second brand deal promoting products that are aligned with my business. And I got the second brand deal because they saw my first brand deal. Like the things that build for us
Mhm.
are amazing. And I think if anybody is overlooking social media as an opportunity to build your visibility, presence, and brand, then you are just like absolutely missing out. I think that's why it's so important
Mhm.
that we do focus on social media so much in this room. Obviously, there's other ways to do it, but for me, it's changed my life.
But I can't think of a better way to do it.
Me neither,
Like
because we can
Jenny,
do it from our house.
I've tried. I've
I
tried to
know.
think of better ways. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing too, is I think one of the things too is inside of Powerhouse, I always say like Powerhouse is not me and Powerhouse is not you. It's like the collection of minds inside of Powerhouse. And I feel like um, where we're just discussing ideas and the idea is always lousy. There might be something like we just kind of keep pulling this thread, right? When there's like a thread, we just kind of keep pulling it to be like, well, what else? What else after that? What else after that? And and it's a safe spot because we don't record some of the meetings. But
I like those ones the best.
well, because sometimes it's you want to be a little bit unedited sometimes. Um, but it's this thing of where like the idea sometimes has to get worse before it gets better. It's like reorganizing your closet, and so you got to take
Yeah.
everything out and evaluate, okay, what do we actually need? And I think that's what we do on a lot of businesses where we say, well, is this thing actually performing? And if not, then let's stop doing it. And the bar just keeps getting raised and new things start feeling normal as agents reach new heights. And it's kind of this idea of going from behaving like an employee to behaving like a CEO.
But not alone. And I think that that's the thing that I've valued so much. Like I was thinking about this week, I can't even track the number of DMs I have with other Powerhouse agents, the voice messages, the text messages. I've had two impromptu masterminds with other Powerhouse agents this week on top of like our scheduled Powerhouse stuff because we're just there for each other. Like if you need anything, I
Because
think
it's
all of us,
fun.
it's fun. Yes,
It's fun.
it's fun. Exactly.
Well, and I've kind of found like if I can make work fun, I work way better. I work
Totally.
more. I am enjoying it. I'm happy, and that's the thing that really changes it. So if you could give an agent any advice, it's like sitting on the fence or is considering Powerhouse, like what would you say?
So I think that one thing I see agents do all the time, and I totally did it too, was they have this really like either fear of making a change, and let's be honest, changing brokerage is a pain in the butt, right? It's a pain,
It's a
right? You
pain.
just have to like pull the plug and do it and slog through it. So I get that, but I think also so often as women, we have this misplaced sense of loyalty to the people that like are in our brokerage or on our team. And I think that we forget, like, you can stay friends, right? Like, you can stay friends and still support each other. But we have to, when we're business people and especially owners of our business, like, do the numbers. If I had done the numbers more thoughtfully, more thoroughly, projected them out 3 to 5 years when I was at my previous brokerages, it would have been very, very obvious to me that I was
Mhm.
leaving. And I did the math, Amy, $750,000 in splits and team splits and brokerage splits over 8 years. $750,000. I can't, it makes me a little bit sick. I can't think about it. Like I don't think I can talk about it in front of my husband. Yeah, it's a lot.
I mm, I'm rarely speechless. Oh, Julie.
I know. I mean, it sounds like I'm the worst business person in the world, right? And it's on some level, I was. There were other decisions involved there, but
Mhm.
yeah, I would never, going back, looking at it now, have made some of the same choices that I did.
Well, you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah.
when you're inside kind of that brokerage umbrella, and I don't like to use this word, but it's almost like they're like gaslighting you into staying there because they need you to be reliant on them,
Yeah.
right? And that is their business model.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to like step back from where you're at and look at it objectively and say, okay, how do I make money? How does this person make money? And how does this person make money? Okay, well, if these people are making money off of me, then I need to take their advice with a grain of salt
A hundred
because
percent.
they need to do what's best for them. And that's fair. They are going to do what's best
That's
for them.
fair. They're business people.
I also get to do what's best for me.
Yeah,
And that's a skill
exactly.
set we talk a lot about in Powerhouse. And Julie's mastered it. It's been amazing to watch. Julie, thank you so much for being with me today on our very first episode of the Powerhouse Effect. This is Juli Ford, and if her story sounds familiar, that's because it is. This is what happens inside of Powerhouse. If you are a solo female agent doing 3 to 5 million, and you've been wondering if there's a better way to build, there is. Come find out what the Powerhouse Effect feels like for you. Um, all the details are in the show notes, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so glad you were here.